Hey, what's going on, folks? This is Castro here, YS Stocks and Options. I wanted to get in here because I want to share a few of my thoughts with you going into Quad Witching, and Quad Witching being the third week, right, of September this time around. Check out the last video that we actually had posted, and we talked about Quad Witching, what exactly it is, and how we can actually prepare for Quad Witching, right? So we're gonna go over a few things again. I'm gonna show you what I'm actually taking a look at right now, just to share my thoughts with you, what I'm actually gonna be doing and what trades I'm gonna be possibly getting into. So what are we seeing right now is SPY, right? I'm trading view right now. So we're looking at SPY. Okay. So we're looking at SPY, and as you guys know, Quad Witching occurs every quarter, right? The third week of every quarter. That's when we have 4 different expirations for the stock index options, futures, and expiring all simultaneously. So what I've noticed is that at least for the last year, every month or so, the third week of every month, we've seen SPY hit and test the 50-day moving average for the at least 6-7 months, right? That's what I've noticed. Let's take a look at that. So right now we're in a weekly chart trading view again, right? And you notice that last Quad Witching, which was in June, right? We have the first week of June, second week of June. Look what happens, right? Second week of June, we noticed this sell-off. First week it topped up. It went a little bit higher the second week of June. Then the third week we saw a sell-off. Right, and indicative right here of this volume, red candle volume here that we noticed people were selling off. So that was happening in June, right? So March, also another day for Quad Witching. See the first week of March, right? This was a hammer candlestick pattern here. So a little bit selling, and then it was higher the following week. For the third week of March, right? The same phenomenon again. Check out the last video that I did and I posted on our YouTube channel, showing the same thing here. Right? So we got 1, 2, we'll go to one more just to show. So that was March. So now we're gonna look at December, third week of December. First December, second week. First week December, second week, and third week. Much lower, right? Here, this one it closed at $69 roughly. And here we saw a low of 364, right? And hit an all-time low here is 361, right? So the third week you see a little bit, you see some selling off here for the third week during Quad Witching for March. But if we dig a little bit deeper and see what exactly is going on within those weeks, and what I'm actually interested in this particular plan that I have for myself is this. So we're gonna look here now at the daily chart, right? Meaning each one of these candlestick patterns, which each one of these dojis represents a day, right? That's what we're looking at. And of course, this box here will just represented that particular week. So when we look at the third week here of June, which was Quad Witching, right? We saw stocks going up a little bit high here, right? June 8th. The third week here starting the third week here really starting on the 14th, right? We got the 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, and 18th, right? That's really the third week. And of course, the 21st going into the fourth week. Point here, you see it tops off here early in the third week, right? We see the 14th high, the 15th high. Then we see the sell-off occurring here, really 48 to 72 hours before all the options expire. And what happens thereafter? Boom, it takes off, right? Fourth week, we see price action going higher all the way to July, right? So let's explore March quad glitching. Let's see here. So this particular week started on the They started on the 15th, right? So this particular week started on the 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, and they closed out on the 19th here. Really the same pattern that you saw previously for quad witching in June. It jumped up pretty high, right? Settled high on Wednesday, the third week, trading week, and then it dumped on Thursday and Friday, right? And as you can see, then it actually hit the 50-day moving average, right? It's very key to what I'm going to be discussing a little bit later. The 50-day moving average being one of the areas in which I usually get into and buy my trade and ride it out for like a week, at least 2 weeks. And we see the same thing. The first 2-3 days, it reached a high, and then it dumped after that. So we're going to just explore one more, right? And this is December quad witching. And this particular week, it opened up on the 14th. So the 14th, it reached a new high on the 17th, right? Then 2 days later, like 48 hours, 18th and 19th, you see the sell-off here, right? You see the sell-off starting from really Thursday and ended up on Friday. And then you see a jump thereafter, right? So here it closed off at 367. And about 2 weeks later, it was at 380, right? About $13 higher. Then it got higher after that. So when I look into this trade and when I look into what I want to do here is finding an opportunity to buy SPY when it crosses the 20-day moving average. Ideally, I want to buy when it touches the 50-day moving average, right, on a daily chart. But really looking into it crossing the 20 between the 20 and 50-day moving average, buying some. And then if it goes a little bit lower to the 50, me doubling down and buying the same amount of contracts for that week into 2 weeks out. That's what I'm actually that's usually the strategy that I like to follow. Again, starting to buy some puts really on Tuesday or Wednesday of that quad witching week, right? For puts all the way down for like a week, right? For the following week, and then buying my calls, right? When it crosses the 20-day moving average or hitting the 50 between the 20 and 50-day moving average and buying it for 2 weeks. Because if you'd have bought this one here, 385, 386, right? $386 for SPY, and you held it for 2 weeks, right? It hit $409, right? 386 to 409, that's about $23, right? So if your contract costs like $300, right, and you bought 10 of them, that's $3,000, right? 89 and hit 309, 49. How much is that? That's like 19 bucks, right? So that's $1,000 per every dollar that it went up past your break even. So that would be like $20,000 here. So that's what I'm actually going to be jumping into as far as the trade here. Again, buying once it breaks the 20, between the 20 50-day moving average, and buying off for 2 weeks, right? Same thing here. Buying my puts on that Wednesday, Tuesday, Wednesday, buying it, right? Once it hit the 50-day moving average, buying my calls for the reversal, right? Heading into the following month. And you notice the heavy volume sell here, right? Red, right? It tried to come back up, but it was a little bit down, and then selling off here on the last trading week, the last trading day for that third week of quad witching, which is the 18th. That's where you see the massive sell off here, right? A lot of options expiring, right? Here as well, right? A lot of selling off here, right? Then you see the buying. So I myself, I'm looking into buying some puts next week, right? Just buying a few puts, and then the third week, I'll continue to buy more puts. I'll continue to buy more puts and look into for 47.08. So I'm looking at 447.08 as my price target for my puts. And looking at 449 here, roughly 449, 440, roughly 449, 448, 93. So these are price targets that I'm looking for to take profit here for my puts. Again, here being 447, right? That support area here. This is support. So I'm looking here for my price target profit zone. And I'm also looking for another support area here, like roughly $449, right? So I assume, or it's really theoretically, I believe that this is SPY is gonna continue to go on a little bit higher, right? Eventually peaking 2 or 3 days before the 17th of September. And then we're gonna see, we should, right, based on the trend from the previous quad witching, we should see a downside or a sell-off for SPY, hitting a price target of 449 roughly, or even going as low as 447, right? But if it hits the 50-day moving average, I mean, that would be amazing, right? As we're seeing thus far. We watched here that every third week of the month, this day here being the 19th of August, we've seen SPY selling off. So the same thing here, right? This is the 19th of July. 19th of July here. Of course, this is quad witching here, right? The 18th of June. Right? So the 19th of May. We also saw here the 12th of May. Believe our members actually got into this trade here. We traded this one for 2 days, and we made really great profits, buying at weakness SPY, and then actually selling off here on 2 days out. So 405, and then selling off at 416. So we made a few $1,000 per contract here. And then we also use this opportunity to buy as well, right? So that's what I'm going to be looking for. We've seen that every month, right? Around the third week of every month, we've seen a sell-off, and this is a great opportunity to buy into some calls, and then boom, right, capitalizing on the uptrend within a week or 2 weeks if you want to stay in it for that long. So I'm going to be in it for about 2 weeks, and we'll see what just happens, right? Ideally, if SPY hits the 50-day moving average, it breaks the 10, the 9, the 20, and also hits here the 50-day moving average. I'm anticipating here 3947. Yeah, if it hits this 50-day moving average here, that'll be a nice, great entry point for myself. And I expect it to bounce from $439 to the upside in a few weeks to come. So I'm just waiting for a signal right now. So what I'm going to be looking at for my particular signal, I'm going to be looking for the news, of course, right? Definitely the news. And be looking at the news. And even though this previous week here, the last week, it closed at looks like a inverted hammer candlestick pattern or spinning top, I'm going to be looking for the stochastics to, that's my signal, right? I'm going to be looking for the stochastics to cross going into the downside, and that's going to be my personal signal for actually buying my puts, right? That and also the news, right? We know quad witching is going to be the week in which we're using as a catalyst, but I'm going to be looking for something like this, right? Stochastics crossing, right? And buying around this area here, right? If we put it together in correlation with, let's see here. Let's see if we can see much better. Sure. So there's going to be my buying signal. Here I'm going to be getting ready, right? And then the following week, I'm going to be looking for an entry point, right? See the signal cross on this particular week here, right? The third, this is the first week of May. Then the following week, we saw a sell-off, right? You can see the volume here selling, right? And then boom, entering the trade the second week of May and closing out the third week of May, then going into the upside. If we look closely into the day chart, let's look at May. April, May, where are you, May? May right here. So exploring May again. Here. Went up. Right. Right. We looked at the weekly chart and we noticed that the second week will be the ideal entry point. And then I'm just looking for that signal, right? Their sell-off in that particular day, right? And this day being the 10th. We saw that the first week of May, right? SPY was going up, boom. And the second week was the week that we were going to enter into our puts, right? Our side here being at 64.9, right? Stock peaking, and then the next day it dumped. It dumped all the way to the 12th, right? So that's the signal that we're waiting for. Again, looking at the weekly chart, the big picture, and then zooming in into what a specific day we're going to get into. Right, take into consideration the RSI. Again, quant witching being the catalyst, the day in which we're going to get into the trade, and then just looking at the stochastics, the news, stochastics, and the indicators as ways to determine what our entry point is. But as we know, the news and quant witching is really the catalyst, the main catalyst that determines when we enter our position, right? Enter our position. We're just using the indicators to allow us to facilitate that entry point, that ideal entry point that we want to get into. Here. Beautiful. Here, second week getting into it. RSI, then RSI coming down. Hitting the 50-day moving average, then it coming back up for the upside. If we zoom in a little bit more, May. We zoom in a little bit more in the May. See? And we see every one of these dojis represents 4 hours, right? We see a flag pattern here developed, right? Boom, took off. We saw a flag pattern, and then we see consolidation here, right? And we see this bearish engulfing doji, right? Once we see this, we already noticed that the stochastics already crossed here at the 4-hour mark. Now we're just waiting for that signal. We're waiting for the candlestick, right? That bearish engulfing candlestick here is the indication we need, right? We see the moving average, boom, right? Peaking, 9-day moving average. And then we see a consolidation, a few death cross. This is a death cross here forming, really with the small EMAs, right? Moving average. Ideally, we want to see that the 250, but this here also is an indication of a sell-off. So we see a bearish engulfing candle here, a bearish candle. And then we see a sell-off going from $422 roughly, hitting an all-time low of $405. So that's $17, right? Boom, $17. Right. Great entry point here. See a rise, right? We see consolidation. Then we see a huge sell-off here, right? And we see the moving average going down. This could be an indication here of the sellers are no longer in control of the market. This is support. Boom, right? So the trend being the upside, right? They say the trend is your friend. So we see the trend that's not going up, SPY going up. We see the consolidation here within this area, right? But we notice that the stochastics already crossed, right? So once the stochastics cross, we're just watching it for it to cross this bearish area, which is the red line. Once the bearish area is entered, right, the red line, that's when it's an opportune time for us to buy the puts, right? Boom. For every 4 hours, right? This support area is no longer supported. The stock is no longer going up on the trend. And then we see a change in the trend here, right? The trend has changed. That's what we're seeing. Right? We're just following the trend. Of course, we're expecting this because of quad witching, right? The trend has changed, boom, right? Once the trend has changed and SPY crosses support, it has now become bearish. And you see the bearish doji here, the moving average consolidating upon each other or crossing each other. Then we see boom, a sell-off, right? So hopefully that was helpful. That's what we're looking into. At least I'm going to be looking into to try to get into a trade for quad witching time, looking at the support and resistance areas, and of course other indicators for me to enter my position. So, because if we look at August right now, let's see, if we look at September right now, every 4 hours, let's see here, boom, boom. Just exploring September, right before quad witching. This is what I'm noticing. Right? I'm noticing consolidation here, right? And this is a flag pattern. We'll see a lot of consolidation here, right? A lot of consolidation. Consolidation between 551 and 554, roughly, right? A lot of consolidation here. But there's still more upside to go. It's my assumption. Right? Taking a daily chart, this again, daily chart is consolidation. Right? I'm expecting this consolidation to continue on for a few days, right? Of course, the 17th of September being the key date for us to, which options expired. So this is the area here that we're really paying attention to, right? Boom, we saw SPY went up. Now we're seeing consolidation, right? Here's going to be key to when exactly this is going to fall, if it's going to fall at all, because it may not fall, right? But as we notice for every month around this time frame, right, SPY has to take a breath, right? It has to take a little break. It has to go down a little bit. So, I have a feeling it's going to fall. I have a feeling it's going to fall a little bit down. Right, it's going to test that. It's going to reach a new all-time high around here somewhere, right? Who knows, right? Or it may just consolidate for the next week, right? The second week of September. Then eventually it's going to start to crescendo down. Right? Because as we've seen, I mean, it's been taking off. Boom, it's been rallying the entire time. So I think it's time for it to take a little break, right? Again, we're paying attention to this area here, right? This area is going to be key to when exactly we enter our position, right? Very, very key, right? So I'm going to draw this line, and I'm going to be paying attention to this line on a daily basis. From here, all the way here. I'm going to call this my support line. We'll call this my support line here, right? If SPY crosses the support line for the downside, I'm going to buy puts. I'm going to be paying attention to my I'm going to be paying attention to my 9-day, the closing. I'm going to be paying attention to my 4-hour chart, right? My 4-hour chart. My 4-hour chart is going to be very telling. And SPY crossing this support line. If it crosses here, right, crosses below the support line with a lot of volume, as we saw, if we see a bearish candle right like this, that tells us that the trend has changed, right? That the trend is no longer going up and the trend is shifting, right? So this time frame here is going to be very, very telling as far as what happens to this particular security. Here. Gradient. So a lot is going to happen around this area here, right? SPY is going to continue to go up, right? Or it's going to break this support area here with high volume, and that's where we're going to enter the trade and buy some puts, right? Of course, we're gonna look into a few things. We're gonna look at the candlestick, which type of candlestick is actually forming. We're gonna look at volume, right? Things to consider: candlestick pattern, but doji pattern, or even ideal candlestick. We're gonna look at the volume, and we're also gonna look at for any divergence, right? Any divergence that we see within the RSI and the chart itself, right? But right now, big picture, SPY have been trending up, right? The trend has been up for SPY, right? Been trending up for the most part, right? Uptrend. Uptrend. Like for the most part, it's been an uptrend. Of course, it took a little downtrend here, right? Boom, and down a little bit here, right? Then the trend changed again for the uptrend. So we see here. And the trend changed, went up, right? And down a little bit. It went down. I continue to go back up. Took a little pause, went down, then the trend changed again, it went up. So we're expecting this to go down a little bit. When? Not exactly sure. Is it going to reach a new all-time high before it goes down? Most likely. But we're going to be paying attention to it and see what happens, and then we're going to enter the position again and buy some puts. Again, hopefully this was helpful. I know there's a lot of information throughout there. Planning considerations, again, we're looking at the volume. We're looking at divergence. We're looking at the candlesticks, the patterns, and also the doji themselves. And the catalyst being quad witching and just looking at the trend for the last few months for each one of the months for SPY to include each one of the quad witching dates. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. If not, just let us know what exactly you want us to talk about, and then we'll facilitate that conversation. So I'm going to be jumping into some puts here, like I said before, and I'm also going to be jumping into some calls when it reaches my ideal environment conditions. Right. Thank you for your guys' time, and see you guys at the finish line. And always practice logic over emotions. All right, peace.